Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you so very much. Luke St. Martin, Eric, H526, Jimbo, hello, Peggy, hello. We have a very interesting segment. If you look at an interesting article, can Kanye West actually make it on the 2020 presidential ballot? And this is just the other day, and now we know that he filed paperwork. He's on the ballot in Oklahoma, but he takes the popular vote away if he gets on the ballot in California and New York, the two most populous states. So Kanye West will face considerable hurdles getting on the ballot should he decide to go through with his presidential bid with just 4 months until the November general election. The music superstar has already missed the filing dates for independent candidates in Indiana, Texas, Maine, New Mexico, and North Carolina. Well, so what? Additionally, this is the main issue. He still can. Additionally, West faces fast approaching dates in Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Iowa, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan, Missouri, Utah, and Wyoming. That, ladies and gentlemen, is huge. So Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, this is very important. I don't think people really understand. If Kanye West really gets things going, if he really gets things going to where he can be on the ballot, because he would even get, he knows he's not going to become president this year. He could become president if he runs as a Republican. And in 2024, if he can communicate a platform like a populist in terms of foreign policy, in terms of economic policy, a populist message that he can convey to Republican voters the way President Trump did. People who don't understand how Bernie Sanders supporters become President Trump supporters, they don't understand what Bernie 2016 was about. They have zero clue. They have no understanding what Bernie 2016 was about. Okay? Hint, it's not about the 2020 Medicare for All only person. Has nothing to, Bernie 2020 was a campaign that did not, well, first of all, it didn't craft a message that allowed it to win within the Democratic primary. But in 2016, Bernie Sanders was against the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Bernie Sanders was against never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Bernie Sanders wanted to address the trade imbalance with China. There were a great many things. That Bernie Sanders and President Trump had in terms of an overlap, and I explained them in my Federalist article, why Bernie supporters should vote for President Trump. It wasn't just he was for prison reform legislation. President Trump signed prison reform legislation. So you can try to say that, oh my God, they're so different. Well, they're a lot more alike than Bernie Sanders and Biden. Tell me where the overlap is between Bernie Sanders and Biden. There is none. There's a zero overlap, aside from lip service and public relations. Biden and President Trump would veto Medicare for All. Biden and President Trump would veto any Green New Deal legislation because there's only a resolution. But the difference is that Bernie Sanders and President Trump President Trump got us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. You would think that Bernie Sanders would become the first president to step foot in North Korea. And begin détente between North and South Korea. So you would think, hopefully, he would have achieved that, which I don't think he would have. Because his foreign policy very likely wouldn't have been that different. You would think than Biden's, because he He couldn't even admit that he was cheated. So you would think that Bernie Sanders would have addressed the fact that would have been like President Trump and signed a deal to get us out of our longest-running military conflict in Afghanistan. So you would think that Bernie Sanders would have addressed these issues, renegotiated, or got us out of NAFTA, got us into the USMCA. You would think that President Trump, that Bernie Sanders would have actually been like President Trump. But see, they spoke about the same issues. The difference is that Trump actually addressed those issues. We can go on forever. But if he's able to get, if Kanye West is able to communicate a message, a populist message to conservative voters pertaining to foreign policy and pertaining to economic policy, because there are some conservative, whether it's the Second Amendment or issues pertaining to abortion, there are some conservative issues also that Kanye West has adopted. He would easily defeat and obliterate Marco Rubio. He would easily defeat and obliterate Ted Cruz. Republicans, the establishment Republicans or Republicans don't have anyone after President Trump. I'm not sure that I would, if there's somebody that's going to implement the type of foreign policy that Marco Rubio or Jeb Bush or Mitt Romney would implement, I'm not going to vote Republican. I'm just not. I'll sit it out. And they say, well, you know what about the Second Amendment? Yeah, I know that it would hurt to sit it out. But I'm not going to vote for somebody who's going to send Americans off into the same counterinsurgency conflicts, the endless wars that President Trump is trying to end. So like I said, he signed a deal to get us out of America's longest running military conflict, which, by the way, like nobody. So President Trump signed legislation for the First Step Act prison reform legislation. He signed legislation to increase funding for historically black colleges and universities. And here, this is also President Trump. This is from HBCU Digest. And if you look, oh Lord, President Obama in his first 2 years gave $1.43 billion of his administration. And this is interesting. In terms of the budgets, President Trump's budgets for the first 2 years gave $1.58 billion in terms of all the different programs. Strengthening HBCUs parts B and F, strengthening HBCU graduate institutions, strengthening HBCU master programs, funding for Howard University, HBCU capital finance program. So Obama fiscal year 2010 to 2011 and 2011 is $1.43 billion. Trump fiscal year 2018, 2019, $1.43 billion for President Obama, $1.58 billion for President Trump. So President Trump gave more money his first 2 years. And I believe his first 4 years as well. Because you look at the legislation he passed, and that was set to expire. So he renewed and increased funding for historically black colleges and universities. How on earth is Trump racist? Then you're getting these Jimbo, do you think Biden is setting up a policy platform that HRC can come in and contrast against? That's a great call. I do think there's some element of that. I do think that there's some element of that, Jimbo. I think that there's some element of that because Clinton is viewed as a progressive. And so, Jimbo, that's a good point. Very good point. Clinton, who voted alongside George W. Bush, is viewed as a progressive. See, this is the interesting thing. There's no emphasis on foreign policy. There's no emphasis on foreign policy. And what I mean by foreign policy, I mean America's adversaries in regions of the world that we've been fighting within for 20 years. I can't name the adversaries, but there are numerous groups and organizations and factions, and there's zero emphasis on that. Like, when I say zero, like complete zero emphasis on that. It's interesting. It's interesting that there's no emphasis on foreign policy at all. Just zero emphasis. And all you have, and this is kind of interesting also, ladies and gentlemen. All you have is like the Democratic Party and the left and media, Hollywood, social media itself. All of these things will be flushed down the toilet. The current paradigm for this machine will be flushed down the toilet. Because on November 3rd, you have, President Trump's going to win. Let's say they're not going with Biden, they're going with Hillary Clinton. So I will have made it's really going to be the biggest political call of all time. I know originally I would be saying this, and I would be like, do I really believe this? But it's going to be the biggest political call of all time. Because right now, there's nobody that thinks, there's even the people who thought that she would be nominee, there's nobody, aside from my viewers and me, there's nobody who thinks that Clinton's going to be nominee. But the paradigm of the left, where everything is viewed from a certain prism, everything, except their sins, except their overtly racist or bigoted or offensive statements or actions or policies or legislation or, faults. When they're called out, they demand respect and empathy and forgiveness immediately. But they're the ones who get to judge and condemn. And by the way, I don't think that there's some people who did not understand my H.A. Goodman's other channel discussion on Nick Cannon's statements and why I don't think he should be fired. But I mean, it's 25 minutes long, so anyway. I happen to view whatever. I'm not going to get into that. Please watch that segment. It's 25 minutes long, and I give my viewpoint as a Jewish American as to why I basically explain why there are Democratic politicians I feel infinitely more anti-Semitic than what Nick Cannon stated, which was anti-Semitic, but not a threat. It wasn't a threat to me, in the manner that Democratic politicians, their absurd statements or viewpoints or policies are a threat to me as a Jewish American. So check out H.A. Goodman's other channel, and also my op-eds in the Jerusalem Post. But Agent Pepsi could be. If Clinton becomes vice president, then she'll become nominee. Like I said, I'll be happy either way. She becomes vice president, and they choose her. There's a million ways it could happen. I think that's. I did a segment on how Clinton could become vice president. I think you could be right on that. I don't know how it happens. I really, really don't know how it happens. But my thing is that if Kanye West is running, don't you think that Clinton is saying, okay, the groundwork is even better? And then you have media in complete fairy tale fantasy world. Why Trump can't persuade America to hate Joe Biden? Nobody cares about Joe Biden. It's even worse than actively disliking Biden. He is a non-factor. You're talking about somebody, Biden up 13 points on Trump in Pennsylvania. Well, basically, the governor of Pennsylvania has already stated they're going to cheat. Well, we won't know until 3 days after. They're setting the groundwork. It's unbelievable. But again, if Trump, I believe, is going to win Minnesota, he wins Minnesota. He won't need Pennsylvania. He will not. He wins Nevada and Minnesota. He won't need Pennsylvania. And I think he can win Nevada. I think he could win Michigan too. And how to read Biden's massive lead in the polls. They're going to be so scorned. They will be so scorned. They're going to lose the election, and when they lose, they're not going to understand why they lost. She could very well be vice president. Let's see. Biden, VP pick. Or Biden could pick a vice president, and at the nomination, see, I also don't get why aren't people able to envision the convention, them just not voting for Biden? I don't see nobody would care. I don't get that. They're well, nobody would stand for that. No, they don't care at all. If they're okay with Biden this long, what makes anyone think they would care if he wasn't actually chosen by the delegates? There is no organic support. No one says I really like Biden. There are no Biden voters. There are voters who have nobody else to turn to aside from Biden. There are Hillary Clinton voters. And there are more Kanye West voters than Biden voters. There are people who genuinely like Kanye West. I like Kanye West. Even before he started running, I liked him. As a human being, I liked him. And there are millions of people who you cannot become a billionaire in the music industry without having charisma or without having not just supreme talent, but charisma. He spoke his mind. He had charisma. He was an independent thinker. He was influential with the prison reform legislation. I think it would be equally shocking for Clinton. Well, Clinton could very well be the vice president, but whatever happens, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm telling you, it will be the biggest political call of all time. Jimbo! Biden will pick HSCs. I think so. I think Biden will pick... I don't know who his vice president would be. It could very well be Hillary Clinton, which would then be part of the H.A. Goodman prophecy. But I agree with you. Like, I think it's very likely. I don't know. I think it's probably more likely than not that he picks somebody else. But he could pick Clinton. Whatever happens, Biden is a placeholder, and nobody's going to care. Just like, did anyone care when Bloomberg left? Were there any Bloomberg voters like, oh my God, well, I'm Bloomberg or bust? Was there any Bloomberg or bust voters? No. So you have President Obama, who did not. So you have President Trump, who gave substantially more to historically black colleges and universities. He actually gave what? You have about $150 billion more. About $150 million more. But if I'm looking at this correctly, but you had President Obama, President Trump, who gave more to historically black colleges and universities than President Obama, and he signed prison reform legislation, and he was the first president to sign an executive order combating anti-Semitism. So how on earth is this man like this horrible bigot? I don't understand. The Democratic Party, anyone who disagrees with them is a horrible racist monster bigot that must be, erased from history. And that, on November 3rd, if President Trump on November 3rd is not a one-term anomaly, and if Kanye West helps President Trump get the popular vote, what do they have to fall back on? All of their anger and frustration and vitriol and venom is predicated upon political capital derived from Trump working with Russia, Trump cheating. But they can't save face. That's what I'm trying to say. This is going to be a very short-lived little moment in time where Democrats and everything to do with the left-leaning paradigm, like, they think that they're like, oh, well, you know what? This is the new way of thinking about politics. The Democratic Party, the sensibilities of Democrats and liberals is now officially the new way of thinking about American politics. We're going to blame Facebook ads for 3 years and then impeach a president on the absurd notion that he had no right to investigate Biden, who literally bragged about and boasted about withholding $1 billion. So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where, like, and then you had Joe Biden saying, you ain't black if you vote for Trump. Roughly, those 3 words he did say, but I think at the beginning was, well, you know what, if you have a problem deciding who you're for. But see, you don't get any, they're not harping on that. The left immediately goes to, Trump's rhetoric and sweeps under the rug Biden's rhetoric, which is one of the many reasons that paradigm of logic is not going to be taken seriously after November 3rd. They're going to lose again, which means that every different faction or every different part of the Democratic Party that they rely on for political influence is going to say, well, why am I spending so much time? Why am I spending so much time? Why am I spending so much time listening to these people if they keep losing? That's what's going to happen on the left. They're going to say, why am I spending so much time if Trump just wins, is going to win every 4 years, or is going to win, he's going to be in two-term president. So what I'm trying to say is that November 3rd, they don't think they realize the ramifications. I don't think they realize that every single pundit who stated that Trump was a horrible menace, every single pundit who said that is going to look very bad when they lose again. And I remember when I was on the left, I remember telling people, I remember saying, you know what, don't focus on trying to denigrate Trump because it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. It's not going to work. I mean, like I said, like, don't focus on trying to, like, what they do is they try to, I think that they try to create their own reality. And without Twitter, like, what is the Democratic Party without Twitter? So Kanye West does not need Twitter to be relevant. Donald Trump does not need Twitter to be relevant. Okay? I'm not on a Twitter account. And I have my viewers on H.A. Goodman and H.A. Goodman's other channel. And whenever I decide to do something with whatever the third channel is going to be, you know, I'm starting a website soon. I'll get my newsletter up. Throughout this election, my voice will grow because of my viewers, which are amazing. But I'm not on Twitter. My voice has nothing to do with Twitter or Facebook. And if you see anybody trying to impersonate me on Twitter, they're breaking the law. So please report them to Twitter. But if your voice is based on climb BMX, Bernie was cheated twice and said nothing. I know. Great point. I know. That is a great point. See, I don't usually bring up twice because that's an excellent point. Just me too. Yes, you are amazing. Everyone's amazing here. Climb BMX. That's a great point. That's a great point because, you know, he was cheated. He was cheated again, but he's not. He was cheated in Iowa. Jimbo! I can't wait for the 2020 Amazon. Look, I already know what I'm going to say. I know what I'm going to say when Clinton is nominated, pretty much. It's the MC Breed election, ain't no future in your frontin'. And I know what I'm going to say when they lose again, and it's going to be shouldn't have cheated Bernie Sanders. Which is funny because Jimbo and Climb BMX, I don't think that he understands that when you are wronged, you need to get not necessarily vengeance, not necessarily revenge, although those things aren't that bad, generally. I mean, depending on what's going on, they could be horrible or they could be justified to an extent, to a logical and peaceful and reasonable extent. Only peaceful. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, like Ringo Starr. This is many years back. Ringo Starr. This is like about 8 years ago or 10 years ago on YouTube. He was getting fan mail, and I guess he didn't want the fan mail. He goes, "Please don't send letters to me, and expect something like." He was just like, "I appreciate the letters, but there's just too many of them. Peace and love, 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 peace and love." So. Anyway, it's the Patriot. I think he could get at least like 2 million votes. He gets 2 million votes in California. He gets 2 million. He gets 1.5 million. He gets 1 million or 800,000 votes or 1 million votes Insta Patriot. He gets 1 million votes in New York and 2 million in California, or more than that. I mean, it depends on, how many votes did Gary Johnson get? California 2016 election results. So let's just see here. I mean, Trump got votes in California too. It's like California election results. So you had Gary Johnson got 478,000 votes. So you're looking at Kanye getting over 1 million. Easily. That's a conservative estimate. Easily. Trump got almost 4.5 million in the most liberal state, along with and Clinton got 8 million. The reason that she won the popular vote, she got, in addition to Gary Johnson giving her 4.5 million votes, she got over 4 million votes in California. What does that matter? She got over 4 million votes in California. We have 50 states. He won more counties. He won more states. He won 10 more states. But if Gary Johnson got 500,000 votes, what do you think Kanye West would get? I mean, easily 2 million, 1.5 million. And then they say, well, he's going to ruin the election. Well, you should have spent some time speaking to voters for the past 4 years. You have no right. You have no right to even complain. You have no right to complain. Zero right to complain. Gary Johnson got 176,000 votes in New York. So, I mean, Kanye West could easily get 800,000 votes. Clinton only got 2 million more, not even, less than 2 million more. No, less than 2 million more votes. That's hilarious. She got 1,700,000 more votes, and you cut that down to 1 million. So she'll win by 1 million votes in New York, which is funny because of Kanye West. Ringo, William R. Ringo is the best looking Beatle. Now, Michael, I do. I have a 100,000 sub button. Yes. Jimbo, Kanye could help even up bogus postal votes. Yeah. They're going to have a tough time. They'll have a really tough time cheating. They'll have a really tough time cheating. So, Big Chris, November 3rd, 2020. Mixed mango White Claw alcohol seltzers with Smirnoff. Keep bringing our troops home for Esmaga 2020. Yeah, Big Chris. It's gonna be so fantastic. Big Chris. And I can't articulate exactly what I want, Big Chris and everybody here. I'm trying to explain, and you know what the problem is. I'm trying to explain in an ambiguous, vague, roundabout manner because I want to be YouTube guideline friendly. The current paradigm on the current Democratic Party, left-leaning, liberal, Hollywood, mainstream paradigm is short-lived, it's fabricated, and it has a very narrow political purpose. The left does not care about value systems. They use pain, hurt, suffering, history for their own narrow political objectives. When their credibility and legitimacy as a political paradigm or political entity is thrown down, is basically flushed down the toilet on November 3rd, they have two choices. They can complain again, but the complaints and the accusations are predicated upon Trump being a one-term president. You cannot complain. You cannot continually complain. So Big Chris and everybody here, what I'm trying to say is you can't continually complain about President Trump being a monster and a Russian operative and a destabilizing force if he wins again, which also means that everything else they try to spew will go down the tubes also. Their entire message is that we should be listened to because Trump cheated. But you can't do that again, even if they accuse him of cheating, because there was no proof in 2016, and they don't have Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Strzok, McCabe. That whole thing was media and intelligence chiefs working together. There were liberal journalists getting information from corrupt intelligence officials and then writing and publishing. So, Big Chris, thank you. I mean, it's going to be enjoyable. I mean, look, life is beautiful. Everyone, but you know what? Just cross every day out and say, my God, I have to, it's going to be a beautiful thing to be alive on November 3rd. And honestly, no matter what happens, Clinton wins, God forbid, chas v'shalom, which is in Hebrew, means God forbid. Clinton wins, she'll be one term, and then President Trump will win again, will run again. See, November 3rd is not the end for President Trump. It is the end for the Democratic Party if they don't win, and they won't win. Aiden Martinez! President for 2020, Dwayne? President for 2020, Daniel Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho. I don't know who that is, but should I know who that is? Aiden Martinez! Aiden Martinez, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Looking up this person. Oh, nice. 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 Love Terry Crews. Love Terry Crews. How do I not know? Wait, what? Why I should definitely know who this character is, and why is it the first time that? Thank you. Oh, Idiocracy. That's right. Oh, that's right. Oh my God. Yes, Aiden Martinez. Great. President. Aiden Martinez. Thank you. Thank you. Agent Pepsi won. Dems only complain. Trump treated just as. No, George W., unfortunately, was treated better. Loud citizen if Trump wins entire cities. I don't know about it. I don't think so. A loud citizen, I don't think so. I think, if anything, that'll be... I think there'll be a great deal of futility in that kind of... There's only so much, you can't continue. The anger for President, the anger against President Trump can't continue if he wins again. It would almost seem like really, it would be even more absurd than it already is. But Aiden Martinez, thank you. Aiden Martinez, thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you Kanye West could become president. I know that, here we go again. I'm telling you. The Republican Party has nobody. If he crafts a message that resonates with Republican voters, he could become president. I'm telling you. Look, this is not denigrating President Trump because I'm a Trump supporter. But if you said to Republicans, yeah, I think Donald Trump could become president, most Republicans would be like, what? Donald Trump? Well, he became president. The person who likes Marco Rubio and the person who likes Hillary Clinton are not that different. They're not that different at all. They're not that different at all. So the person who likes Marco Rubio and the person who likes Hillary Clinton are not that different. And you spent it's just like if you you watch an MMA fight or you watch a Super Bowl, MMA championship fight, or if you watch a Super Bowl, you talk smack for 4 years, you're going to have to back it up. You're going to have to eventually back it up. You're going to have to back it up. If you don't back it up, then don't talk the smack. Don't yap and run your mouth for 4 years. But if you do, then you're going to have to, at the end of the day, you're going to have to, show what you have. And that could be in the Super Bowl, that could be in the octagon, that could be on the baseball diamond, that could be anywhere. If you say for 4 years Trump is an anomaly, he's a buffoon, he can't communicate, or whatever, he's this monster, he's divisive, he's polarizing, and you lose, that means that you should never be taken seriously again, ever, on any issue. If you go ahead and you spend 4 years trying to pretend that you're the intelligentsia, that you are the exalted and morally superior people, and the left has taken a moment in time where they could have built a very powerful, influential, and inclusive, and kind of their ideology is so narrow-minded and so theocratic. They almost have a theocracy. They almost have this, and it's basically the French Revolution of political ideas. Everyone gets the ideological guillotine at the end. On the left, you're going, no matter if you're on the left, it's a matter of time. It is a matter of time before you get the ideological guillotine. You will be excommunicated. You will be excommunicated from the left. It's just a matter of time. I'm telling you, this is what I think President Trump should do. The second he wins, he should delete his Twitter account. Jared Kushner should start a platform, or Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr., and the entire planet would go to that platform, because he'd be a president that was a 2-term president, reelected. He could literally start his own social media platform, and win. And actually, what would take place is the reason Twitter exists. The reason, the entire allure of Twitter, which is trying to recreate or fabricate Trump's meaning and intentions, and trying to redefine whatever Trump actually wrote, or trying to create a message that doesn't exist within Trump's statements, that would be completely undermined. He needs to. This is the great thing about Kanye West and President Trump. And on a microscopic level, not putting myself on their level, on microscopic, me and others, I don't care. I am not social media. They say YouTube is social media. It's not. I don't think it's social media. It's just a video. It's a great video platform. Video-based platform is, it's just a new form of television, or another form of television. But if your voice is linked to Twitter, your political voice, if that's the only voice that you have, start a website, start a YouTube channel. You need to branch out, because Nobody will remember what you said on Twitter even a month from now, or 2 months, or 3 months, or a year, or 2 years, or definitely 5 or 6 years from now. If your voice is linked to the future of, a really bad platform, like President Trump has already defeated Democrats on social media. The interesting thing is also two things. One, President Trump cannot, he needs to start discussing and communicating his his policy wins, his policy objectives. I mean, his achievements. You can't allow Democrats to just sweep under the rug every single achievement. You can't do that. I'm still with her. Let's just do that on Twitter. I'm still with her. Because that's really what this platform is for. This is so great. When Clinton becomes nominee, it will be the most amazing moment. It'll be the most amazing moment on this channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel, but also in American history, because it'll be like the Democratic Party realizes that it's still stuck in a dream with Freddy Krueger, and I don't get how people are like, why is she even what's going on? I thought she's not running anymore. I thought Clinton's not politically relevant. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Let's see. What did Madam Secretary? I'm telling you, Clinton's going to be nominee. I'm telling you, it's going to be the biggest call of all time. I'm telling you. Oh my God. Let's just do, I'm still with her. Okay, here, let's go. Top, I'm still with her. She tried to warn us. This is the best. I'm the last thing standing between you and the apocalypse. She tried to warn us. Do you understand what's going to take place? The meltdown will be like Mount Vesuvius and why can't I remember? It'll be like Mount Vesuvius and Mount St. Helen and times a million. It'll be like Mount St. Helens and Mount Vesuvius, and those will seem like tiny little events. The meltdown will be beyond epic, and we're gonna watch it on this channel. And H.A. Goodman, I'm gonna do it'll be like the Guinness Book of World Records. I'll do live stream here and then live stream on my other channel. It'll be amazing. If Clinton doesn't become nominee, I will not care one bit. Believe me. Because they will lose. Yes, I'll admit I was wrong, because Biden will have lost by the entire an electoral college landslide, and he wouldn't even get the popular vote. So I'll deal with that. I'll be quite happy. If I'm wrong about Clinton not becoming nominee and it's Biden, they're done. So the issue, it'll be euphoria. It'll be euphoria on this channel and H.A. Goodman's other channels. So if people don't want to watch because Biden gets steamrolled, I'll be right on half of my H.A. Goodman's prophecy. But of course, the main prophecy is Clinton becoming a nominee. But so that's an answer to that. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on one second. Hold on one second. So yeah, they're not going with Biden. If they went with Biden, then President Trump would easily President Trump will easily defeat Biden. But they ain't going with Biden because he looks and acts like an exhumed body. And this charade, it's the biggest charade of all time. It really is the biggest charade of all time. It really is. To think that here's this man who can you answer what he's accomplished? So President Trump, first president to step foot in North Korea. President Trump signed the First Step Act. President Trump is bringing home Americans from America's longest-running military conflict, which is all major achievements, infinitely more than Biden has ever accomplished. Well, also Clinton, but that's another story. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below. Thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you, everybody. I'm telling you, Kanye West, he goes ahead and continues. If he goes ahead and continues with, if he gets, I think that he's still able to get in California and New York. He'll get millions upon millions of votes. That'll take the popular vote away. If they lose, ladies and gentlemen, because with Biden, they wouldn't even get the popular vote. So if they lose the popular vote, it would be like this. If they lose the popular vote and they lose the Electoral College, which they will have zero influence in American politics for the next year at least. 4 years, they'll regain some influence because people will be tired of President Trump, or they'll say, oh my God, 8 years of this, and they'll continue with the constant, oh my God, the sky is falling, which might eventually work yet again, but they're not going to have political influence in media, in society, for at least a year after the election. The only reason they were relevant after they lost to Trump in 2016 was because of James Clapper and Comey and Strzok. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below to my super chat. Thank you, Jimbo. You have the best journalism on YouTube. Thanks, HA. Thank you, Jimbo, very, very much to my viewers in Australia. Thank you so very, very, very much, and to my viewers everywhere, thank you. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, thank you, Jimbo, thank you, everyone, thank you so very much. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have a great segment on there, and it's a 25-minute long segment on, it's very, I explain exactly what is offensive to me, or what I find a truly offensive and horrible, which I think the left completely ignores. Give me your thoughts below. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you.